Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Jose Rincon. I'm the Artistic Services Manager here at Opera America, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the first event of the 2011-2012 Salon series. Tonight we celebrate the music of composer David T. Little. And the Salon series is just one of the programs that we look forward to hosting in our National Opera Center in just under a year. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Opera Center, it is going to be a 25,000 square foot multi-purpose facility located on the 7th and 8th floor of this building. We'll have an audition recital hall, a recording studio, rehearsal rooms, a score recording library, reference library, in addition to the Opera America offices. The grand opening is September 21st, 2012, so mark your calendars now for that momentous occasion. On your chairs, you have the program for tonight with the bios for our composer and the singers. We also have the brochure for our 2011-2012 season of programming for artists. You can find more information about the Salon series, about our Making Connections program, and about the Opera Center in here. Before we get started, if everybody could take a moment to silence their cell phones and anything else that might make noise. The performance and following conversation will go till about 8 p.m. tonight. Afterwards, we hope you'll stay for a glass of wine and some snacks and some continued conversation. I should say that tonight's session is being streamed live on the Opera America website, so thank you for those of you tuning in online. Welcome. And a recording of tonight's session will be added to the Opera America website in our online database of professional development resources for artists. So, without further delay, I will turn it over to Mr. David T. Little.
Thanks so much, everyone, for coming out tonight, and to Opera America for hosting this event and for inviting me to be a part of it. Tonight, we're going to hear excerpts from 3 operas, ranging from, I guess, my first, which I started writing in 2004, called Soldier Songs, followed by excerpts from Sport, which was from 2010, and then concluding with excerpts from Dog Days, which started in 2008 and is still in progress and will be premiered next next September at Peak Performances in Montclair. So that's the project for the year, and we're really excited to be digging back into that. To set up, I'm going to come up a little and give a little intro to each piece before they start. We're going to start with a trailer from Soldier Songs. This is from a recent performance at the International Festival of Arts and Ideas in New Haven. And in a way, this is sort of to, I guess, give a sonic snapshot of the works. I worked a lot within rock-influenced sound worlds, and so a lot of distorted instruments, a lot of amplified instruments, so obviously different than what we're going to be hearing tonight with piano. So as you're listening through the evening, hopefully this will give a sort of sonic context for how the pieces would sound in fully realized or staged versions. So Soldier Songs was written between 2004 and 2006. It's meant to explore the world of the soldier, both the perception of the soldier and the reality of the soldier from the age of 6 through the age of 66. And in particular, it deals with questions and issues of post-traumatic stress disorder. So we'll just see the trailer, and then we're going to hear 2 arias from It's Still Life with Tank and iPod, and 2 Marines. So hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you after the Soldier Songs then.
enter combat in my hero's tank, I like to bring my iPod. It keeps me entertained. When I enter combat in my Abrams tank, I listen to Metallica. It keeps me in a rage. It cooks my blood and makes me feel like I can conquer anything. It brings me back to when I was a boy. A week ago, I was in Jersey. Push the button, aim on screen. Shoot the moving pixels. Shoot the moving pixels. Shoot the moving pixels. Shoot the moving pixels. A week ago, I was in Jersey. When I enter combat in my Abrams tank, I like to bring my iPod. It keeps me entertained. It keeps me entertained. It's kill 'em all, not a man. Kill 'em all, not a man. Two Marines came to my house to tell me that my son from the President, regretfully, my son. I did not answer the door. I knew the speech, heard it bravely fought in combat fell for liberty, my son, my son. I took my grief out to the yard. And while they knocked, I doused their car with gasoline. I lit a match, set it ablaze, my grief to see. Set it ablaze to see my grief as burning, burning flames. Take this to the President and tell him that his letters can't, not even signed by human hand, not even written by a person. This letter won't nor uniforms, not folded flags, nor victories won. Your practiced words from strips well learned cannot bring back, cannot bring back, cannot bring back my son. Bring me 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 back my, bring me back my son. Bring me back my son. Bring me back my son. My son. My son.
Want to mention I'm so thrilled to have all of these fantastic singers here working with us tonight. They're some of my favorite people in the world to work with, so I'm really glad to be here. The next piece is in some ways very different. I tend to, as a composer, deal with some pretty serious stuff. So, for example, The Experience of Soldiers and Dog Days, you'll hear, deals with some pretty heavy stuff. And so in late 2009, we got a call, I got a call, and my librettist partner, Royce Fabric, who you meet a little later, had a call from Don Upshaw at the Bard Vocal Arts Program and invited us to write a short 30 to 40 minute one-act opera. We said, what a great opportunity to do something, try something completely different and actually try to write a comedy. And so we came up with a piece called Vinkensport, or the Finch Opera. Royce discovered this on Wikipedia, as he is known to do, and it's a Belgian, Flemish folk sport where you sit in front of a box that has a bird in it, and you count the number of times the bird sings a particular song. And everyone sits next to each other in this long row, and whoever has the most of this particular song, called the Suskaweet, wins the competition. And that's the sport. And Royce originally presented this to me, and I was like, absolutely not, I'm not doing that. And then the more we talked about it, the more I was like, you know what? Singing competition, Maestro singer, the line 1 ounce opera divas comes up in the libretto. It just suddenly became the perfect thing to do, and we did it. So we're going to hear 2 arias from that. One is called The Professional, which will be sung by Lauren Worsham, and one is called Dear Atticus, which will be sung by Christopher Burchett. Hope you enjoy it.
If you Finch sit with the locals, we'll go away next week. My husband likes to bribe me. He knows I'll do practically anything with a dirty vodka martini, teeny in me. Just a twist, darling. You know I'm going to need something to wear, darling, and I'm sick of shopping in Brussels. I'll sit anywhere you want, with the finches holding the finches on top of the finches, but I want to do so fashionably. Go easy on the gimlets, he says, baby, I've all that I want today, I swear. Well, 3. But it takes double digits to get me teetering on stilettos. I know when to say when I'm a professional. I'm a professional. I'm a professional. If you Finch sit with the locals, I'll If you finish it with the locals and return with your brassiere, you and Georgette can have a ball. I'm a professional, 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 I'm a professional,
Another competition come and gone, and we put up a good fight. I thank you for your professionalism, old man. I thank you for your companionship. Much like talking, but somehow I can't help but confide in you. So many years, so many stories, both truth and lies, a lot of fiction sprouts from these lips, but like clockwork I feel guilty and must come clean. You keep me an honest man, Atticus Finch. You keep me an honest man. You keep me an honest man. And for that I'm grateful. end of the house, and the television at the other. Sit in the middle of the news at my favorite Dutch classical music station. Like I do every evening. 10 years is an awful long time for a bird. 10 years can be an awful long time for a man too. But being your trainer, old man, being your trainer has been an honor. But a deal's a deal, dear Atticus. And after these beautiful years of friendship, I can't force you to sit in the gulf between the radio and TV with me anymore. May you live out your days in peace and happiness. May you build a nest, create a family. And if you ever find yourself by my window, sing us a sweet
Thank you, Chris. So I said that was a comedy. I failed to mention that it leads up to that point. So sorry, I'm in the middle. I'm like, oh, right. It's actually, there's this playwright I really love, David Ives, who has a really great collection, All in the Timing. And this kind of formal thing, a number of his plays do this, and I really love it. Philip Glass Buys a Loaf of Bread is one of them, and Variations on the Death of Trotsky have this like kind of silliness for the majority of the piece, and then they just hit you with this moment at the end that recontextualizes everything you just heard. So You just heard the recontextualization of a 40-minute comedy, so sorry for not mentioning that. So up next, we have Dog Days, which is still in progress. I mentioned before it's going to be premiering in next September. It's been commissioned by Peak Performances at Montclair. Thrilled that Jed Wheeler can be with us tonight. Thank you for coming. It's been a project. It's the longest project I've ever worked on. It's going to be the largest piece I've ever composed when it's done. About 100 minutes or so, I think we're thinking. And it's also kind of a comedy. It's black comedy, but also about very serious sort of thing. So here's the scenario. It's based on a short story by Judy Budnitz, also called Dog Days. And we're in a wartime scenario on American soil. Maybe World War III, we don't know. It's never really made clear. But most people have fled to the cities for safety, and you know. But this one family has decided that they're going to stay put. They're going to stay in the house and just fight it out, essentially. Rations are dropped for a while. Eventually they stop coming. Things get more and more dire. I won't give away the ending because that would be no fun. But it progresses, let's say. The three arias we're going to hear, it's a family of five. Daughter Lisa, two sons, Pat and Elliot, father Howard, mother who doesn't have a name other than Mother, which is interesting, and a strange man in a dog suit who arrives on their back porch begging for food. His name is Prince, and a lot of the story is about the tension between the human beings and this dog man person, and what does it mean to be human, what does it mean to be an animal. Gets into all these very heavy kind of philosophical things. So the three arias we're going to hear, the first I think is the mother's aria, right? So the first is the mother's aria, What Are the Odds? At this point, the mother is basically deciding to go to bed and not get up again. This is her last scene in the piece. And her character is really involved with providing a sense of fantasy for her daughter Lisa so that she can kind of get through this experience. But there's also this very stark reality that she understands, obviously. And this is her moment of kind of, in a sense, giving into her own fantasy, but also really embracing the reality of the situation. The second aria is called Mirror, Mirror, which is sung by Lisa. And Mirror, Mirror is Lisa sort of staring in the mirror and expressing how excited she is that since she hasn't been eating because there's no food, she finally looks like a model. And it sort of takes it from there and goes to some heavy places. And the last aria that we're going to hear, sung by David Adam Moore, is the father's aria, Stand Up Like a Man, which is, in the context of the show, is sung to Prince, this man in the dog suit, and is really a sort of point of no return in the piece. And that's where we'll end it. So thank you all for coming. Thanks to Beth Morrison for much help being everything. That's wonderful. And yeah, enjoy it. We'll see you at the talk back at the end. Thank you.
What are the odds when not even wind rustles the poplar branches? When not even the usual hum exists in daytime, nighttime, anytime? What are the odds when our cheeks have sunken, our ribs ripple under our skin? When he goes on his missions, hunt after hunt, yielding nothing. 20 years spent with him, 20 years building up what war breaks down in days, minutes, seconds. The shed skin of what he was before. 20 years spent rearing sons, once little ones who hide in the basement doing God knows what. For we both know, God and I, that there's nothing left to do. So tired, go to sleep. I make my bed, quiz from the cedar chest, a fan from the sofa. So tired, but Lisa, change the pillowcases, the fitted flat bed sheets. Press them, press them, press them. Muscle out the creases. So tired, but Lisa. I make my bed. I submit. What were the odds that I was given this life and not somebody else? Hello there, beautiful. Hello there. Skin stretched around a bony frame. Angle shapes and corners revealed under baby fat. He's heaven, Lisa, he's heaven. The face you always wanted, with cheekbones jutting like boulders from a white sand beach. Boulders, boulders. Hello there, beautiful. Hello, beautiful girl. Ribs like an antique washboard. I rub my fingers down and up and down. I've lost count of the ridges. It's happened like corrugated cardboard, the kind that Dad has piled up, waiting to be burned in the dead of winter, when nothing's left but our shivers. Hello, beautiful. Hello in there. Collarbone necklace, legs like steels, skeleton fingers for dainty rings. Collarbone necklace,
this, a man just like me. Gotta stand up like a man. Gotta stand up like a man. Gotta stand up. Take off that Halloween costume bullshit. Pathetic. Listen here, guy. I'll give you a change of clothes, my clothes, if you just stand up like a man, stand up and speak to me with the voice God gave you. None of this barking shit. Human being, a goddamned human being, goddamned.
Another thanks to all the singers. It's not easy music by any stretch of the imagination, and they really they did a great job, I think. So I think I'd like to introduce Royce Vavrick, who my partner in crime for Big and Sport and Dog Days. We're going to sit down and talk.
Thank you, Roy. Thanks for having us. Absolutely, our pleasure. So I guess since you're up here, how did this relationship come to you guys working together?
Yeah, do you want to tell the story? It's sort of a funny. It almost didn't happen.
I'll fill in gaps.
There was some. I don't really remember the details, but I know that my phone. So we met through a friend of ours, a composer with whom Royce had worked, a good friend of mine, and wrote this really beautiful. A couple. I guess it was the ALT workshop. So a lot of shorts, and there was this one setting of based on Thomas Hardy's Nora at the Altar Rail that I just at the Altar Rail. Oh, it's just called At the Altar Rail.
My opera was called Nora.
Right. Sorry. And just was really struck by it, and that's around the time that the initial project stuff for Dog Days was getting started, and I needed to find a librettist because I had decided after Soldier Songs that I had done the libretto for Soldier Songs, and I didn't want to do it again for a whole bunch of reasons. And so I was like, all right, it's time to find a writing partner, find a librettist to work with. And so we set up this meeting, and my phone was dead, or your phone was dead, or it was dying.
I lost my phone.
Oh, you lost your phone, and my phone was dead. So I was, after half an hour, I'm like, listen, I'm going home. And somehow...
It almost didn't happen.
It almost didn't happen.
Yeah, this relationship was...
That wasn't really a good answer. But
the long and the short of it was I wrote an opera, David saw it, and it was about the same time that you wrote that Soldier Songs was going up at Vox, and I remember reaching out to you
Right.
because of Soldier Songs, and so we met just to have a coffee and to meet each other essentially, because we had met in passing, but not. Yeah. And so then he said, I have this amazing opportunity to write a piece for Don Upshaw in Carnegie Hall. And he said that he had the story. You sort of said, if you have any ideas, put them forward. But then then you emailed the Dog Days short story, and that was the beginning of this marriage.
And that, in the Carnegie Hall presentation, was about 15 or 20 minutes of the piece. And also, this is how Vinkensport sort of came to be, because that was also a project with Don Upshaw and the BARD program. So that's how that relationship got started.
You guys have collaborated on the 2 projects so far, the Vinkensport
and some others.
We have a piece coming up with the Brooklyn Philharmonic and Brooklyn Youth Chorus.
Yeah, a piece called Am I Born, which is inspired by the painting
By Francis Scott.
Francis Scott, Winter Scene in Brooklyn, which is in the Brooklyn Museum. And then we've also written a number of shorter pieces. We have a piece called Last Nightfall that we did for the 21st Century Leader Oven last year at the Kitchen. So we do a lot of stuff together. The Brooklyn Phil piece is really exciting. It's Brooklyn Phil, Brooklyn Youth Chorus, and Melissa Hughes, soloist. It's a 30-minute kind of oratorio, although I feel weird saying that, calling it that. But
What do you feel worried about calling it?
I don't know. I just never thought I'd write an oratorio. I don't know. I didn't picture myself as like an oratorio kind of guy, I guess.
Did you always think you'd be an opera kind of guy?
No, not really. I think originally, I remember when I was an undergrad, I think I'd been composing for 2 years or 3 years, and I remember going to my teacher and said, I think I'm going to write an opera. And he said, I think that's a bad idea. and his reasons were really good. He's like, look, you're really young, you're just starting out, your music is going to be so different a year from now than it is right now, and you will still have not finished this opera. So let's maybe start off, write a little song cycle, And so I started writing pieces that had dramatic concerns. I've always been very interested in drama and theater and telling stories. I didn't, at the time, I wasn't thinking, it's funny, it's at the time I thought I would write music theater.
Okay.
And sort of experimental music theater pieces, which I think of as different from opera, and so I guess I didn't think I would be writing opera.
In your bio, it says that you've studied with Osvaldo Goyov and William Bolcom,
Yeah.
2 of the more famous American or contemporary opera composers. Did you learn how to write for the voice as part of your formal education, or was that something you sought out on your own?
A little of both. I didn't write a lot of vocal music when I was in school, actually. I wrote a lot of instrumental music. I had one song cycle that I wrote while I was working with Osvaldo. Actually, 2 Marines from Soldier Songs started out as a part of that song cycle. So, but other than that, I wrote a lot of orchestral music and a lot of chamber music. At a certain point, I ended up spending a lot of time with singers, like at festivals. I always hang out with the singers because they're fun. And you get into conversations about, so tell me, what makes something fun to sing or not fun to sing? And you just sort of get into these conversations, and eventually they sort of, they stick. And but for me, I think Soldier Songs was the moment. I remember I got this commission from the Pittsburgh New Music Ensemble to write a piece, and I said, can I write the entire concert? Because I wanted to write something big, but I didn't know what. And they operate out of the City Theater in Pittsburgh, and I went the season before to see them, and I went into the space, and it was a black box. And something about the feel of that space felt like home to me. And from that point on, it was just the feeling of being in a theater as opposed to a concert hall was, for me, the turning point.
Royce, had you written libretti before looking at the theater?
We met because I had written these 2 short one-acts through ALT, but that was pretty much it. I also went to NYU's musical theater writing program, so I had a thesis musical under my belt and a couple of short pieces from there. But I think Vinkensport is probably my first sort of, I guess it's not really a full-length piece, but my first substantial libretto, and then Dog Days shortly thereafter. So yeah, these are very early libretti for me.
And what attracted you to the subject matters of these very different subject matters? You have
Yeah.
sitting and
It's,
soldiers.
like I said, the finch sitting thing, when Royce first told me, I was like, no way. That's no way that can work. You know? And so I don't even know what it was that changed my
What
mind.
attracted you to it? Yeah.
Well, we pitched like 40. We
We
threw
have a whole
stories back.
whole list of ideas. We have literally like have a Google Doc with just, you know, different types of pieces, and you know, this is a piece that's this kind of style, and, you know, all different, you know, different properties and just ideas that we come up with. So
I'm super curious. I just love telling stories, and just a wide array of stories fascinate me. So I don't know what necessarily about finch sitting,
it's so
or
it's such a weird thing.
I think that you read Dog Days and it feels so dramatic, and like it needs to just burst alive on the stage.
It's funny. I mean, Dog Days I have a long history with that piece. There's a film version by a filmmaker named Ellie Lee that years ago, maybe even I think it was about 10 years ago, was on the IFC Shorts rotation. So I was in grad school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and just happened to see this short film on IFC and was totally just captivated by it. And then sort of kept it in the back of my mind, and eventually wrote in the same song cycle. There's a song called "After a Film" by Ellie Lee, which is Dog Days, you know. So it kept kind of creeping up, and then when we had this opportunity with the Carnegie Hall thing, it just seemed like the right fit.
I don't know that I've heard that selection.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think you have.
You should
I'll
share that.
I'll
Yeah.
play that for you.
And in your bio, it says that you often draw on your experience as a rock drummer and like to fuse the styles. Have you always been interested in fusing styles? Is that something that's developed
I think
over time?
there was a time where, when I decided I was going to be a composer, I had a very particular view of what that meant, which was more in a sort of modernist aesthetic approach. And so when I was doing that stuff, this was probably undergrad into early grad school, it was just, kind of abstract music. And at a certain point, I don't know exactly what it was, but that just kind of all melted away. And suddenly all of these other musical influences that I had growing up, which ranged from, death metal to Broadway to fife and drum music. I mean, I had this weird musical history. All of that just kind of came out. And I think Soldier Songs actually was the first piece where I consciously sat down and said, I'm not going to deny myself any aesthetic choice. If something feels like it should have a Sondheim-y kind of vibe, I'm just going to go with that. And that's in the spirit of communicating what needs to be communicated. And that shift, that decision, is what sent me off in this very different direction, where now my music is really eclectic, and there are all these sort of styles that play into it. And now I look at it that all of my influences have a place in telling, or could have a place in telling a story, and that's the fundamental thing. That's my real interest, is telling the story. And if I need to use a certain kind of style to do that, that's fine, and it doesn't make it not my music, and it's still my voice. I feel like I'm giving really long answers.
Tell us a little bit about Newspeak.
Newspeak is an amplified octet that I founded with clarinetist Eileen Mack, who is here, in 2004. And our mission is to explore the intersection of music and politics, and to explore the intersection of classical music and vernacular styles, which for us tends to mostly be rock music. We're all amplified, like I said. I play drum set for the group. We have electric guitar, synthesizer, another percussionist, violin and cello who play amplified with pedals, singer Melissa Hughes, who's involved in this Brooklyn Film project, and Eileen plays clarinet. I always forget somebody. I have to do and yeah, that's been a really important thing for me, just in terms of finding my own voice. The ensemble for Dog Days is an augmented Newspeak. It's Newspeak plus viola and bass, and with an extra percussionist because I'm not playing. The band for Soldier Songs is also Newspeak.
So when you're composing, do you always have Newspeak in the back of your mind, or are you able to kind of compartmentalize?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm writing for orchestra, I'm thinking about orchestra. So, but the lessons that I've learned from having a close knit group of people who are not, we've known each other for a long time now. We rehearse a bunch. We play together all the time, and so the musicians are not afraid to say, "Hey, this is stupid. This thing you wrote for me, this is stupid. Let's fix this." And I've learned a lot from that process, and so in that sense, it's definitely influenced my writing for instruments in general and for voice.
And on your website, you say Newspeak, you seek to reconsider, redefine, and ultimately reclaim the notion of socially engaged music and its place in contemporary society. What does socially engaged music mean to you?
Socially engaged music in that context was that's a little bit older, I'm realizing. It was a term that I used when I was working on my thesis, which is on political music, to define and clarify a type of political music that's not necessarily ideologically driven, and that gets to a broader question about society through potentially political, but not necessarily a political approach. So, Dog Days, for example, deals with some very big issues in terms of society, in terms of humanity, in terms of modern life. And there is a political undercurrent in it. I mean, there's a soldier character who appears in one scene and has a very tense confrontation with Howard. And there's this sort of background of a political situation. But I wouldn't say it's a political piece in the way that, say, Cornelius Cardew's "There is only one lie, there is only one truth" would be, which is, it's like, Mao, end of story, So it's a much broader way of engaging with political issues without necessarily being didactic about it.
Is that also of interest to you, the idea of bringing politics into the art form?
Sure. Well, really, because of my relationship with David, it's not at the forefront of everything I do, but I'm certainly fascinated by it.
I mean, the Brooklyn Phil piece, for example, that's not
Political at all.
It's not really, but it does get into questions of memorialization and memory, and it does still deal with big issues.
Well, on that note, I think it was just today, Soldier Songs was listed as number 3 on the Opera Board blog of top 10 most politically charged American operas.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Right behind Clean Opera and Jukebox. So
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah,
that's great.
that was really a nice surprise.
You're an artist, but you also have your hand in the artistic administrative side as executive director of the Mata Festival.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that? Tell everybody what that is.
Sure. The Mata Festival is an organization dedicated to the music of composers under the age of 40. It was founded in 1996 by Philip Glass, Lisa Bielava, and Eleanor Sandreski, and we have a festival every spring in New York, 3-day, 4-day festival. We also have a series called Interval, which is every 2 months at Issue Project Room in Brooklyn. And we basically seek out the most exciting and unique and sometimes unusual new music by composers under 40 and give it a home. When the founders founded it, it was specifically geared toward finding music that didn't have a place to go and giving it a home. So yeah, I've been in that job for just under a year, and it's been fun. It's a whole different way of thinking. I feel like I have to. There are Mata days and then there are composing days, and they kind of don't intersect. But it's been really important to me over the years. Newspeak, one of the things we do is the New Music Bake Sale, which is coming up November 20th, which is a totally weird event where we basically get all of the new music ensembles that we can in New York together to celebrate what we do and to just come together and be together in a sense of community. So community is a really important thing to me. In terms of my artistic life and the idea of being a good musical citizen. And so Mata really helps with that.
I know you've also done some guest lecturing at NYU.
Yeah, on Monday.
Just this past Monday.
Yeah.
So you're obviously interested in kind of reaching out to the younger generation of composers and giving them exposure. What would you say are the main challenges facing young composers? Specifically, maybe opera composers, maybe not.
I mean, I think for composers in general, it's it can be hard to know where. Well, so when I first decided to be a composer, I had no one to tell me what that meant, and so I knew that you wrote music, but beyond that, how do you make money? Hopefully, how do you what are the practical aspects of doing that? And so part of what I try to do when I go and do these talks, and sometimes they're, like I just presented a paper on music and politics in Poland, like that's just academic kind of stuff. But when I'm talking to young composers, I try to say, look, when I was in college, I decided that to be a composer meant you might have to have 3 or 4 different smallish jobs that build up to one, livable income for a while until the composing thing ideally takes off, and that can be its own thing. But, I just had because Philip Glass is still on the board of Mata, I had the great chance to meet with him a couple weeks ago, and he was like, I couldn't make a living as a composer until I was 40. And I think that's something you hear a lot. I remember one of my professors at the University of Michigan saying the similar thing. And so I guess it's the sense of how you persist and how you can keep going and not get discouraged and not give up, because it just takes a long time.
Royce, is there any advice you would give to somebody considering writing their first libretto?
My life was changed by the American Lyric Theater and the training that they provided. So I think that there are some amazing resources out there, and I would suggest seeking those out. It really did all. It really changed my life.
Well, we have a few minutes if anybody in the audience has something they'd like to ask David or Royce. Yes, in the back.
I'm just curious, with all the different commission projects that you do, they seem like they vary in scope. What are some examples of time frames they give you for the commissions? Like maybe starting with the largest project.
Let's see. So, Vinkensport. I want to tell this story.
Yeah.
So, Vinkensport was written in 5 weeks, which I never ever want to do again.
What was that length?
That's 40 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And that's 5 weeks from when I got the libretto, I think. So we were talking about it before then. And that was 5 weeks of doing nothing but that.
And you were trying to navigate having a nice vacation.
I was supposed to, yeah.
That's really
That. I was meeting, I was going to Australia to meet the in-laws for the first time. And, it wasn't the best time to write an opera, but ideally more time than that. Now. So for example, I'm working out details of a piece that'll premiere, I think, in fall of 2013. That's a 40-minute piece, not a stage piece, but still substantial. Yeah, I feel like I want to push those out a little. I ideally like to have more lead time on things, but part of that is balancing balancing being the executive director of Mata and having this ensemble and needing to sleep sometimes, and did that answer your question?
Sure.
Any other questions? Well, if anybody thinks of one, feel free to ask it over a glass of wine. Thank you again to David and to all the singers and to Royce, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
Hello there. It's nice to see you again.
We're supposed to say seat, so late. Oh, but there's so many people to do that.
This year.
Oh, well, that's what happens, yeah, exactly. No, well, I completely lost track of time, actually, that's what it was, because I looked up at something at 6:30, but running that memories, I left my keys and wallet in the office.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, how are you?
Were you able to get back together?
Oh, yeah, well, Charles was there, so I just went back, but so, it's going to be just on time. It's like, all right, well.
You heard the first piece. You heard Jesse.
I heard about Jesse first. So, Peter, where were you coming from?
It was locked downstairs and there was no internet. And I was standing there and then I was texting David, but he was singing, so he couldn't answer me. And so I had to wait until, so I was
I must have just got it because he was saying, I was late too, and I just walked in, the guy was sitting here.
There was like nobody there for SW for 10 minutes. Hello, mister.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
Oh,
good to see you.
How you doing?
Good.
I look forward to hearing it.
We've had her.
How you?
Yeah.
We have some concerts coming up. I'll know when the time comes to see it. I'll send you the
Thanks so much for coming. Thanks, man. I've just never seen it. Yeah. Opera at all, or opera like that? Oh, yeah. Oh my God! Mozart, Wagner, I mean, so This is my friend David.
Hey,
Seth Charles.
Hey, Seth. How you doing? Good.
Seth
Make coffee. That was awesome. So stoked. Yeah, I gotta see more. You know?